Welcome to exam mini video 7. Today we are going to be talking about phylogenetics by building a phylogenetic tree. So what is phylogenetics? Phylogenetics is a scientific study concerned with the relationships of an organism to other organisms. These relationships are represented by phylogenetic trees. A phylogenetic tree is a graphical representation of the degrees of similarity between OTUs. Normally these OTUs would be real-life organisms, but today we'll be organizing inanimate objects from my room. Before we use this example to explain how a phylogenetic tree is built, let's go over some important terms to better understand the topic. When we look at the tree, we should note that the aforementioned OTUs are operational taxonomic units. They are the individuals that differ from each other based on certain characteristics that we will explain later. This OTU is the outgroup, which is the OTU that is known to have diverged earlier than all the other OTUs. The outgroup is what makes this tree a rooted tree, which is a phylogenetic tree whose OTUs share a common ancestor in the form of an outgroup. As we start at the root of the tree and move along the branches, which are the horizontal segments of the phylogenetic tree, we reach these different intersections, which are called internal nodes. Internal nodes are the point of a branch right before it splits. Once we get to the ends of the tree, we reach the terminal nodes, which are the nodes at the end of the tree at which the OTUs are located. Now, how does the anatomy of the tree represent the process of evolution that allows for individuals to develop and split into different groups? Anagenesis is evolution within a lineage over time, and each anagenic process occurs along its own separate branch. Each branch represents a certain amount of time where an individual is evolving, but it is evolving as one individual or group, not splitting into two. Cladogenesis, on the other hand, is the splitting of one lineage into two, which occurs right after each internal node, where we can see two branches emerging from one. In this case, one group or individual is evolving to become two. Evolution presents the idea of ancestors, individuals from which later individuals or groups have evolved. Phylogenetic trees provide us a visual representation of evolution, which allows us to easily identify the most recent common ancestor between two individuals or two groups, which is denoted by the internal node closest to where the two groups or individuals' branches diverge from each other. Let's add in the inanimate objects from my room to practice grouping individuals based on how they relate to one another. Starting at the root, we can see that the rest of the individuals separate from the outgroup. This split occurs because the outgroup is a bracelet, a piece of polar bear themed jewelry, and the other objects are not jewelry, but they are still related because everything is animal themed. At our first internal node, cladogenesis occurs between functional and decorative objects. Let's explore the functional group. At this next internal node, cladogenesis occurs between hard and soft objects. Looking at the next internal node for the hard objects group, cladogenesis occurs between paperclip items and a nail clipper. Cladogenesis at this internal node splits the turtle-themed object from the sheep-themed object. Moving back to the soft object grouping, cladogenesis splits the koala-themed pencil topper from the lemur-themed pencil topper. Let's move down to the group of decorative items. Cladogenesis at this internal node splits plastic objects from knit objects. And then this internal node splits the two rubber ducks because one is dressed as a vampire and the other is dressed as a pumpkin. As you can see, grouping objects according to similarities they share, like we have done, creates a pattern across any phylogenetic tree. Objects more closely related to each other are physically closer in terms of branch length between them, and the opposite goes for distantly related objects. That is the end of this video and the end of my genetics mini video series. Thanks for listening, and I hope you learned something interesting.